Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, lumbar disc herniation, coping with the mental struggles. Now, I make a lot of good content for those that are suffering with low back pain problems such as sciatica nerve pain, bulging discs, herniated discs, lumbar stenosis, lumbar arthritis. If that is you, then hit that subscribe button. You're going to get notified and upload some great new content onto YouTube to get you back on the road to recovery. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. Welcome folks to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about the coping mechanisms you can do to help overcome and deal with the pain you may be suffering from a herniated bulging disc. Now this is actually part 2 of a 2-video series. Last week I did a video basically understanding the pain, the emotions that can come with a herniated disc, something which is not, for my liking, explained very well in the medical system. And I was going over, what is normal to feel, how these emotions come about, how they can affect rehabilitation, your daily lives, etc. So I'm just going to recap a little bit on that, but if you want to start there with part 1, please go and look at last week's video. It's down in the description below, okay? And that's a good starting place. But just recapping, last week I was talking about the various emotions that can come about with this particular type of injury. Fear, okay, is massive. Fear you won't be able to do the same activities again. Fearful you won't be able to pick up your kids, play with your grandkids, won't be able to go back to your job again if it's a manual job because you're in so much pain, you're debilitated. People get very angry because of course they get frustrated, okay, they get sad. Depression often comes because of this. I've had a lot of clients who have been depressed because of the state of this injury, because the big thing with this injury is it's your lower back. It affects all aspects of your life, walking, driving, sitting, just moving in general because of the position of the lower back in the body itself. So much force goes around that point, the pelvic area, that we often find ourselves, in a lot of pain just by doing simple movements. And it could be brushing your teeth the first thing in the morning, it can be putting the kids to bed, it can be walking upstairs, etc. So it's a hugely wide kind of affecting parts of your life, this particular injury. So we covered a lot of those different emotions that can come up because of this. And to let you guys know, it's completely normal, okay? You're not alone. Many people suffer the same problems, have the same fears. This not knowing, if it's going to heal, what's going to be like in a year from now, etc., etc. Okay. Now we did cover, okay, as I'm sure you've probably been told, roughly 90% of people do recover with conservative treatment without surgery, and they get back to leading a normal life. Okay, but there are some things you can do from a cognitive perspective to help you deal with the pain. Okay, now when I speak to people online, when I deal with my clients, these things come up a lot, is the mental aspect, because it's something which, from my experience with clients coming from different medical systems, be it insured, be it socialized medicine, be it a combination of the two, it is never ever discussed. It is never talked about practically. They're given nothing to go away with, and utilize, and they find themselves in an awful position where they don't know who to turn to. They don't know this is normal. They're taking things out on their spouse, on their friends, their family. When I say taking things out, I mean they're getting angry, they're getting upset. They don't know how to deal with it. Okay, so I want to go over a couple of things that you can do today, and how to understand these pain responses, that they are normal, and how you can kind of start to think and rechange how you think and how you approach pain. Okay, now one of the things which is super important, I'm going to read it off my screen here, is basically our thoughts significantly influence our emotions and behaviors. All right, negative catastrophic thoughts can lead to increased distress, avoidance of activities, and worsened pain. Now, there's a thing that's going to flash up in a second on the screen. That's the fear-avoidance model of pain, which I've links into this. There it goes. Okay, you can just look at that little smiley face there. This is very common during somebody's rehabilitation from a lumbar spine injury, herniated disc, bulging disc, etc. Bulging disc, etc. Can't speak today. And this sort of negative thought pattern. Okay, we have these negative thoughts, and it changes basically everything around about us. Oh, I can't do that because the last time it hurt me, so this time it's going to hurt me, so I won't do it. Okay, or no, I can't go there and do this because that's going to hurt me. And it's this constant reaffirming of the negative thought process. It gets into this kind of vicious cycle. We don't do anything. Fear avoidance. Okay, so we have to take a step back and start to reframe those thoughts. Now, there is a therapy called cognitive behavioural therapy, and it's used in psychology, in clinical psychology, and it's a way of reframing those thoughts, okay? And you're sort of seriously taking a thought, and then you're looking for kind of what you would call like sort of reasons against that thought and reasons for that thought. You kind of try to judge it, okay? Is that thought actually, justified or not justified? Yeah. I don't, for example, okay, say you're a tennis player, okay, and you said, oh, I'm never going to be able to play tennis again, there's no point doing my rehab, blah, 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 okay, where's the justification for that, right? Your injury has been maybe a month, 2 months. Are you able to walk? Yes, I can walk. Can you do, your basic rehab exercises? Yes, okay. Well, can you play tennis at the highest level at the moment? Well, no. Okay, that's a positive, say yes, you're correct. But you're not through your rehabilitation yet. You're doing things progressing towards your rehab. So there's basically more thoughts against, there's more reasons against that thought than there is for that thought. So you start to reframe things, okay? And it basically gives you a much more healthy way of looking at these thoughts, understanding those emotions, right? And how you deal with them and how you reframe them. Now, it sounds a lot easier than it is in practice, okay? Now, it does require a lot of things. It requires something which I am always pushing my clients to do, and I'm always pushing you guys to do if you're watching this channel, and that is journaling, okay? So this actually requires 2 types of journaling. My main journaling is for pain triggers. So you should be keeping a journal of your progress, right? And within that journal, usually fill it in the end of that night or early the next morning, because quite often I ask people to put down how many hours sleep they had the night before, how do they feel when they wake up in the morning, okay? So the journal has to include things like your activities the day before, your pain level the day before. When activities, I mean, typical work day, did chores outside, took the kids to many events, did my rehab, did my stretching, went to the gym, okay, these kind of things, activities, list all those activities, right? What you did for how long, how your stress levels were, how many hours sleep did you have, did you eat your normal, like 3, 4, however many meals a day, how much water did you drink in that day, when you wake up in the morning, I always like to record, how do I feel? Do I wake up feeling refreshed? Do I wake up feeling tired? Am I stressed about something at work still, right? Because what you'll start to see is when you have a pain episode, obviously you record that down, it should be part of your journal, okay? You'll start to see, oh, yesterday I did my rehab work, I did yard work, I was driving around the car a lot, I was taking the kids to different things, and next day I had a pain episode. Okay, well you did a lot the previous day, right? So this allows us to start seeing the triggers of those pain episodes, and it helps us work around those pain episodes. So on that example, for example, if it's a day where you're going to be lots of journeys in the car, maybe going to get groceries, taking kids places, taking friends places, driving a lot, then on that day or the day before, you don't do a lot of activity. Okay, you sort of break it up so you've got a kind of restful day before that or on that day, so you can your body is ready for that activity, right? But also, when you have these pain episodes, you need to have a separate, or you can put it in the same one, but more like a separate journal or a sheet where you record the pain, the feeling, how it made you feel, okay? Was it, angry? Were you sad? What was the feeling and emotions you had at that time? Do you think, oh, it's never going to get any better? Or why is this pain happening now? Or why me? Okay, you have to record all those thoughts down because you can come back to them when you actually do this type of technique. And then you can say, right, what is the justification for these feelings, these emotions? So you have to write down when you have these pain responses and then start to work through consistently, okay, when they happen, what's the sort of, justification for and against it. And then you want to start to reframe those thoughts, okay? So it's like, I'll never be able to do this again. or I won't be able to play my tennis again. Well, hang on, okay? You would reframe that as, okay, I can't play tennis right now at the same level as I could before, but I am doing my activities, I'm doing step-ups, I'm doing my rehab work, I'm walking 8,000 steps a day. I'm currently building myself up to the point where I will be able to play tennis in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, okay, whatever your time scale might be, all right? So you're reframing a negative into a positive. Now, I do have another video which is much more specific on cognitive behavioral therapy and the techniques that will pop up at the end of this one, so stay to the end, okay? Watch that one, it's much more specific and goes into more detail about CBT work, okay, for pain and dealing with pain, all right? Now, another big thing as well, of course, as well as obviously recording these details down, and I try to get people to do this as well, is be mindful, okay? Because mindfulness is another big, you can almost say, psychological technique people use now for dealing with pain, especially low back pain. There's quite a lot of studies where they utilize mindfulness techniques. I'm a big believer of trying to get people, when they do their walking, because I do recommend walking, getting out into nature, right? Being in the park, the back garden, somewhere where there's some greenery, trees, okay? Go into that environment and then start to be mindful of what is around you, yeah? Where you can hear the birds. Look at the bird. What bird's making that noise, right? They're cheeping away, right? What can you smell? Can you smell the flowers? Can you smell the grass? Yeah? The wind. Can you feel the wind on your face? You start to use and feel other emotions, other senses. And for most people, this will start to, you're not dissociating, you're sort of accepting all these other feelings and emotions you can sense with your senses, right? And it starts to sort of ease off your pain because your body becomes more relaxed. You're in a much more relaxed state, yeah? And that's why I say when people, you know, when they do go for walks, don't just walk for the sake of walking. Be mindful of where you're walking, yeah? The buildings you pass, the people that you see, don't stare at them, right? I don't mean that. But you're actually using your senses to take in and be mindful of what is around you, how your body's feeling. Do you feel more relaxed as you're walking, as you're striding out, swinging your arms, relaxed, okay? Because that state that you get into, that kind of, I won't say Zen state, but that much more calm, relaxed, where you're much more aware of your surroundings. You want to remember that state, how your body felt, and then use that throughout your day. So there's another video that's going to pop at the end of this one. It's my kind of low back, relax, 5-minute quick fix, where there's certain positions you can do through the day. And I do advise this if you're kind of a high pain level, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, go into one of these positions for 2, 3, 4 minutes, relax there, you're typically on the ground, feet are elevated, and then go back to that place where you were thinking how the emotions were at that time. Now you may have to record them down, okay, when you're in the park, when you're out walking, on your phone, whatever, you have to record those things, okay, journal it, take it down, and then recall that when you're in that relaxed position, and it will just, you know, how did the grass smell, what were the birds cheeping, you know, feel the sun on your face, the warmth on your face if the sun was out. Not in Scotland, I'm joking, right? Where I'm from. But you try to bring that particular event back into your daily event as you need to, okay? And it will sort of start to desensitize the pain, it will relax the body, it will make you less stressed, okay? So that video is going to pop up at the end of this one as well, which is my kind of back relax, quick relax video. Go check that out and use those techniques, okay, along with this kind of mindfulness work, all right? Now, I actually made a guide. It's going to pop up in just a second on the screen for my clients, and it's using mindfulness. It's going to pop up there. Mindfulness and CBT and acceptance and commitment therapy. And this sort of guide I put together, it comes with worksheets and stuff like that. It helps the clients sort of find and center themselves, readjust to that pain, okay? Now, as well as those 2 videos, so you've got the CBT video coming up as well, and you've got that back relax video, okay? Another massive area, and this is moving away a little bit from the kind of actual tried and tested psychological techniques, is social support, all right? Now, I do have a Facebook group, which I encourage people to join, share their pains in there. People are willing to help, you know, myself included. Okay, tell us your situation. You know, I will chime in with some advice and support for you. But having a good social support network is super, super important to dealing with this injury, especially these pains, because very often your close friends, your partner, They don't know what you're going through, because you may be walking okay, maybe you're limping a little bit depending on your sciatica nerve pain, but in here, you can be struggling, okay? You're gritting your teeth, you're holding that pain inside, okay? It's stressing you out. Please confide in your partner, your family, your close friend, okay? They're not going to think any less of you, right? You need to tell them, say, look, hey, this is killing me, okay? This is really getting me down. This is really, it's making me, angry some days, sad the next day. And, if I'm short with you, I don't mean it. If I don't want to meet up with you guys, hang out, it's not because I don't like you, it's because I can't, I'm in that much pain, right? Look, you'll know, or you'll find out who your good friends are, who your family members are who can help you and support you. Because if you put that out there, right, I want to say 99% of humans, right, will show you empathy in return, okay? That's just naturally how we're built. We will understand, and we will be willing to help. Because a lot of people, they don't know, yeah? They will, they'll keep, the person in pain will keep it inside, okay? They won't share it very much. The person on the other side doesn't know what you're going through unless you've been through this, right? I've been through it twice, okay? So I know, unless you've been through this, you will not really understand, okay? So you need to get this across to your partners, your friends, your family. Say, look, I need some support just for a few months till I get through this. Point them to my video, right? Say, watch this guy, he's talking about it, he's been there, okay? I wrote a guide on it, right? Because they will support you, they will help you, okay? It can be little things like, okay, I'll pick up the kids from school today, or I'll help out in the yard work with you, just to give you that time to relax, okay, and to sort of, get into a much more relaxed state. Because if you don't want to, take out the wheelie bins, take out the garbage, okay, and you're like, no, I can still do it, I don't want to be, not do it, I'll have to help my partner out, right? You can do it together, okay? Just say, look, I need some help, please help me, right? It's not, you're not giving in, okay? You're protecting your body, because at the end of the day, you're trying to recover for yourself, okay, but also to help your family, your friends, okay, to be in a good position for them going forward. So they will understand, all right? So having that social support, it's not in my guide, it's not in my book, okay? It's not a clinical thing that I would, that I've written about, but it's well known, okay? If you've got that support network, if your partner is supporting, then it's going to bide you, like in the long term, really, really well to recover, okay? So the social side is super, super important, okay? Now, one last one I just want to touch on is you need to be doing your exercise, your rehab, your walking, etc. Of course, you know that, but I want you need to be recording those wins there, right? You need to be recording what you've done. Today it was 7,000 steps. Tomorrow, maybe it's 7,100 steps. Tomorrow, like the next day you did 10 knee push-ups. The next workout you did 11 knee push-ups, okay? You have to be recording your workouts, your rehab, what you're doing, your activities you're doing, because only then can you see progress, right? And when you see that progress, it is a mental boost. It's little wins, it's small wins, right? And then when you do have a pain episode in the future, or you have a uptick in pain, or you have a small kind of set backwards, which can happen, and for many people will happen, you can look back and you're like, oh wow, I'm doing 12,000 steps a day now, walking pain-free. A month ago I was doing 7,000, right? For example. That will help you reframe the thoughts. It will help you get into a much, much better frame of mind going forward. Because if you get no record, you're always going to think of the worst. Oh, but I can't do this. But wait a minute, you were able to do that, right? And I've had this with clients where I've questioned them. I've been talking to them, and I've given them a questionnaire to fill in to say, what did you achieve this week? And they've written nothing, or and I'll ask her, like, tell me your wins, whatever. And then we have a chat on the call, and I'll say, what are you getting up to this week, and blah blah blah. And they might suddenly say, oh yeah, I picked the kids up from school this week. And I'm like, but you've never done that since your injury. Yeah, but you didn't write it in the form. Oh yeah. And it's like, people sometimes struggle. They struggle to see wins and to see positivity in this journey. Okay, so you've got to be very honest with yourself to make sure you do keep a note, right? Again, maybe you have to show it to your partner and say, hey, look, I filled in my diary, right? I've done my homework, okay? Here it is, I did this many reps, I did this many steps, I did this many, whatever floors at work, I was up and down the floors, right? That was my activity, whatever it could be, because you can look back at that as the months go on down the rehab journey and you can see where you've come from, where you've got to. And that is a massive mental boost, okay? So journal, 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 all right? Guys, listen, there's 2 videos that are gonna pop up. One is much more in-depth about cognitive behavioral therapy and its use with dealing with pain, reframing those thoughts, okay? The other one will be the low back pain kind of relief position, okay? But guys, hopefully this video has been useful for you, okay? CBT, mindfulness, all right, acceptance theory. If there's any questions, comments, of course, please hit me up in the comment section down below. Do not forget, of course, to share this video to somebody you may need who needs that kind of help. Subscribe, of course, for more great content, and like it as well. All right, team, hope you're doing well. I'll see you next time. Have a great